Hello, welcome back to the garden. Today I'm at home in the woodland and I'm going to be harvesting my first lot of potatoes for the year, and I am really excited. If you're a seasoned vegetable grower, you will know that harvesting your potatoes is one of the most funnest tasks of the year, because you can see how they're growing on the top, but you have no idea of what is underneath waiting to be harvested. Unlike things like soft fruit, you can see those berries growing on the tree or on the plant as the season progresses, but with a potato you really have no idea until we get to the harvesting. One thing that is really interesting about this bed is that it's in shade. So with this area of my garden, you can see now it's pretty dark, but because I'm surrounded by trees and I don't get very much direct sunlight on this bed, it'd be really interesting to see how it does and how the harvest does. A potato will be quite happy to grow in shade, but as you can probably see now as they've died back, they are pretty leggy, so they have had to work quite hard to get as much sun as possible. Now, if you don't know if the area of your garden is in shade or not, basically how it works is if that area of the garden gets about 6 hours of direct sunlight a day, then that's kind of normal. If it gets less than 6, so maybe 3 to 6 hours of sunlight a day, that's partial shade. And if it's less than that with direct sunlight and you're kind of surrounded by trees or walls in your garden or something like that, then that is classed as shade. I definitely get less than 3 hours of sunlight here, so it'd be really interesting to see how big a harvest they do. The potatoes that we're going to be harvesting today are called Rocket, and they are a first early potato. They got planted on the 14th of March and we're now on the 4th of July, so that works out to be about 109 days. And this is the second time that I've grown them in the open ground up here in the woodland. I had a slightly bigger bed when I grew these in 2020 or 2021. And it must have been 2020 actually, because it was before the polytunnel went up, and that is 1 metre by 1.8 metre size bed. And I've grown the same amount of potatoes in here in a 1 metre square bed, but when I was looking back at that footage today, I actually harvested them in 81 days, and when you look at the greenery, they were still growing quite well and quite lush and green. But if you look here today, they're pretty much kind of come to the end of their growing life now. There's no leaves on this one, and over there, there's no leaves either. So they've obviously started to be attacked by slugs and snails, and it is time to get them out of the ground. So enough talking, let's turn the camera around, start harvesting them, and we can see what weight we've got at the end, and also see if being grown in a smaller bed but given more days in the ground to grow, whether I'm going to get a bigger harvest, because that year was 3.7 kilograms. So fingers crossed, let's get harvesting. The first thing I'm going to do is just cut all of these leaves off so we can see where the plants are a little bit easier. They seem to kind of sprawl all over the place. I'm also really excited to see how well they've grown in the seaweed that I put in here just before they got planted. Another thing is I haven't really watered these either. So just having a look now, we've had so much rain, the ground is really quite wet. So it'd be interesting to see if that has affected them or if they've got a scab and things like that, because I've not kind of watered them very often. But having a look here, there is a big slug there, so I am very pleased that we're going to be getting them out of the ground today. Oh, I can already see a potato, which is a little bit small, but it does have a little hole in it, so if I leave these in the ground much longer, they're going to just be food for the slugs. All of the tops are off now, so we get to the moment of truth, and I think I probably say this in every single potato reveal video. This is like the nerve-wracking bit. I've only seen one potato on the top, so a little bit of me thinks maybe there's nothing under the ground, but I'm sure there is. So let's get on with the funnest bit and get these harvested. I've got a couple of these mushroom containers here now, so probably wishful thinking, but wouldn't it be great if I could fill both of these up? So let's get on with it. Doesn't look very hopeful, does it? Oh. Yay, we've got potatoes. Pretty big as well. I'm so happy with those. I only planted these about a trowel deep, and I haven't earthed them up. So they're looking okay so far. Also, what is great about this, I put a load of seaweed in here just before I planted them, and I can see some remnants of seaweed, but hardly anything, and the soil is just so rich and lovely. I'm definitely going to be getting some more seaweed for this bed. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Sorry, I've just become a massive big kid when it comes to harvesting potatoes. Oh wow, these are just so big. I'm loving it. Compared to the harvest of these last time, these are so much bigger. Oh my goodness, look at that. That is huge. Oh my goodness. Oh, I am actually secretly hopeful that I am going to be getting more than 4 kilograms of potatoes, although doesn't look like it at the moment. Another slug on a potato under the ground, so not good. I'm pretty sure that I've harvested all of the potatoes now, and here you go. This is what they look like, and I am so pleased with the size of them. Definitely much bigger than the potatoes that I grew up here last time in the slightly bigger bed, but I'm not sure if they're going to weigh more. So let's go and get them on the weighing scales. Before I do that, I just want to say, while I was in the polytunnel a minute ago, I remembered that I had some really old potatoes in there. And I think it was the same variety of rocket. I'll show you now. They are really old, overgrown, and as you can see, they've got roots on the bottom, and they've started to actually grow their own potatoes on the top. What I'm going to do, once I've weighed these and come back to you, I am going to plant the remaining 7 potatoes back in this bed, and we're going to see if we can get a second crop of potatoes grown in a shady garden coming towards autumn. Who knows what we're going to get, but I'm sure we're going to get more potatoes harvested than I've got in here. I'm going to go and weigh these, and I'll be back in a second. Wow, would you believe it? I've just weighed these potatoes and they've come in at 4.16 kilograms, which means they are a slightly heavier harvest than the ones that I grew up here 2 years ago. But also thinking about it, I actually grew less seed potatoes in this 1 metre square bed than I did back then. So super win, and I'm so pleased. Obviously it's not scientific at all, and comparing, you know, 2 different seasons, 2 different amounts of time in the ground, but it's always fun just to have a little kind of competition. But I really am so pleased with some of these potatoes. But as I said, that compost there had just had an enrichment of the seaweed from the beach back, you know, in March time, and it's rotted down so well. Only a bit of the seaweed is still visible now, so I definitely reckon that I'm going to be able to get another crop of potatoes growing in there now. So before I go down and get these laid out to dry off, I'm going to put them in the ground now. So just as before, when I planted them back in March, I'm going to just put them a trowel depth, because then it's much easier. You know, you don't have to dig around too much to excavate the potatoes. And as we're getting on later on into the season now, and we are going to be coming into blight season really, I'm going to probably spread them out quite a bit, and then I know that they can also get as much light as possible. These potatoes are so sprouty, but they will catch up really super quick. There you go, as easy as that. They're all tucked up now, ready to grow. And let's come back in a few months and see if we've got another harvest. I really hope you've enjoyed watching today's video and that maybe I've inspired you to give a go at growing some potatoes in a shady area of the garden. Even if it's a really small little area, you can just get a 10-litre bucket or a bag, put some compost in and some potatoes, and you will definitely get a harvest, even if it's pretty small. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If this is the first time you're watching one of my videos, please do hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of all of my latest videos. As ever, YouTube have some videos up now on the screen that they think you'll like, so please go ahead and watch those, and I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye!